Hello, everyone. This is going to be a video of me going through your entire practice quiz from today. I'll also post the answer key with just the answers on Canvas. It won't have any work shown, but I'm going to go through all the steps right here. So I hope you're watching this, and I hope you use it to prepare a page of notes. So I'm going to get my face off the screen first. And now you can see your practice quiz. So I don't know how long this is going to take. Shouldn't take more than 15 minutes or so. I'm just going to run through each problem with you. So here we go. Every problem, you have to do the same exact three things. And the quiz will not have 12 questions. The quiz will be a little bit shorter than that, but I wanted to do 12 to make sure you had enough practice. So step one is we need to find the common ratio. And sometimes you can just eyeball it and just see it. It's pretty easy. Like in this case, you can see that every time we're going times 6. So the first thing we want to say is that R equals 6. So that's your first answer. The second thing we want to do is write the explicit formula. In the explicit formula, you should always start by writing A sub n equals, and then we always write the first term, 2 times, and then after that, we right here always put the common ratio, which in this case is 6. And then we always use the power of n minus 1. So that is the second answer. And the third answer is to find the term that we're asked for, which in this case is the ninth term. And so to find the ninth term, we simply, sorry, I can't seem to write below that point. We simply put 9 in place of n. So basically what I'm going to type into my calculator is 2 times 6. And since I'm putting 9 right up here where this arrow is pointing, 9 minus 1 is 8. So then I just type into my calculator 2 times 6 to the 8th. And that comes out to this number, 3, 3, 5, 9, 2, 3, 2. And then we should always insert commas, remember, to start from right to left. So I'm going to take, put a comma after those 3 and after those 3. So we want to box those up and say, yeah, those are our final answers. And so one answer is R equals 6. The other second answer is there's my explicit formula. And my third answer is this, which is the ninth term. And we're just going to do that over and over again. So this should not be difficult at all. And that's all the quiz is going to be. So there'll be no tricky like curveballs or anything that you're not expecting. So let's get on to number 2. For number 2, we can see this time, and I know that what we want to say is that we're actually dividing by -2. But remember, we can't phrase it as division. So what we have to do is say we're actually multiplying by -1/2. And I'm also okay if you call that -0.5. When you look at my answer key that I'm posting along with this, you'll see that I used fractions throughout. But that does not mean that you have to. So I would take either of those for your R value. For our explicit formula, we're going to say that, of course, we're going to start with A sub n equals, and we're going to start with our first term, which is 120. And then we're going to do times, and you don't have to put a time sign if you use parentheses. So I'm just going to put times like this, and I'm going to put my R value in here. And then I'm going to put it to the power of n minus 1. And then the last thing I have to find is the 12th term in this case. So again, the idea is, I'll draw a little arrow up here. You're literally just going to change that n into the number 12 and type it into your calculator. So you should be typing in 120 times -1/2. Remember, you just use your division sign for a fraction, and you're going to raise it to the power of 11. And after you round that off, you should get -0.059. And that is that. So hang on, I'm going to pause this for a second and try to recalibrate something, and I will be right back. You won't even know I'm gone. So maybe. There it goes. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna work on a different screen over here, so this will be easier for me. So for problem 3, we have the sequence 4, 2, 1. Again, we can clearly see that what's happening is, yes, we are dividing by 2, but in reality, we're multiplying by 1/2. So that's my R value. To find my explicit formula, I'm just going to write A sub n equals first term times common ratio to the power of n minus 1. In problem 3, we're asked to find the 10th term, so we're simply going to put 10 right here in place of n, and when you type that into your calculator, you should get 0.008, and I should put a 0 there, so that's 0.008. For problem number 4, the sequence is -6, +18, -54. And again, if we study how does one term become the next, this time it is just straight normal multiplication. So you can see that we're multiplying every time by -3. So the explicit formula is simply A sub n equals first term times common ratio to the power of n minus 1. And then we are asked to find the 11th term. So you simply put 11 in place of n right up here, and you type in -6 times -3 to the power of 10. And this time your answer comes out to -354,294. And again, you need commas in any number that's 5 digits or more. So that's -354,294. For question number 5, our sequence is 24, and then 6, and then 3/2. And remember what I showed you in class yesterday is to find the common ratio when it's maybe a little bit harder for you is to take and actually do the problem backwards. So take like the number 6 and divide it by 24. And if you take 6 divided by 24, you can either type it right into a calculator and get a decimal, but again, I prefer personally to use fractions. So when I reduce 6 divided by 24, I get 1/4. So that's what I'm going to state is my R value, 1/4. And then for my explicit formula, I'm just going to say that A sub n equals, here we go again, the first term times the common ratio to the power of n minus 1. And since this problem asks us for the 7th term, we're going to put 6 right there in place of n. So we're going to type in 24 times 1/4 to the power of 6 minus 1, it says to put in 7 in place of n, so we're putting in a 7, my bad, and 7 minus 1 is 6. So we're going to type this purple thing into our calculator, and if we do that correctly, we should get 0.006. And a lot of these answers are not exact, and that's because I'm following my own directions and rounding to 3 decimal places. All right, so we're almost halfway there. Number 6, we have the sequence 5, 15, 45, which obviously is that we are multiplying by 3. So our R value is just a nice, simple +3. Our explicit formula is, again, A sub n equals first term times common ratio to the power of n minus 1. And we are asked to find the 10th term. So we're going to put 10 right in place of n. So what we type in our calculator is 5 times 3 to the 9th. And when we type that in, we should get a final answer of 98,415. All right, on to the back page. So problem 7 gets a little bit harder to spot the common ratio on some of these. So the sequence is 80, and then 60, and then 45. So the key here is, I don't think it's obvious, is remember to do it backwards. Divide a term by the term that comes before it. So like, look, pay attention to the direction of that arrow. If I do 60 divided by 80, and if I reduce that down, 60 over 80 reduces to 3 over 4. So we can now say that the common ratio, R, is 3/4. And now you have everything you need. Like, that's it. And so we just write the explicit formula, which is A sub n equals, yeah, you guessed it, first term times common ratio raised to the power of n minus 1. Easy peasy. And it says to find the 11th term. So we're going to put 11 in place of n. And we're actually going to type into our calculators 8 times 3 divided by 4. That's our 3/4 to the power of not 11, but 10. 11 minus 1 is 10. And that'll come out to a rounded answer of 4.505. All right, the next one is number 8. And on this one, we have a sequence that is 5, then -6, and then 36 over 5. And again, it can be very challenging to look at that and try to figure out what the common R value is. But I kind of feel like a broken record, take any number and divide it by the number that comes before it. And if you just put -6 over 5, like, that's it. So the R value, the common ratio, we say, is -6/5. So to write the explicit formula, we just say A sub n equals first term 5 times the common ratio, which is -6/5, and we're going to raise that to the power of n minus 1. And sorry for the shoddy handwriting. I'm on a different writing board here, so it's kind of hard for me to the screen ratio proportion stuff is all wacky. So anyways, that's that. And it says to find the 12th term. So yes, we're just going to simply put 12 in place of n. And you're going to type into your calculator 5 times -6/5. And we're going to raise it to the power of 12 minus 1, which is 11. And when you type that in, your answer should be -37 point. And I'm not sure I'm happy with the answer that I have. I currently have -37.15. Let me recalculate that real quick. So I have 5 times -6/5 to the power of 11. And it's actually -37.150. And you want to put that 0 there so that you can say you've rounded to 3 places. So that's that. All right, we are almost there. We're on problem 9. And in problem 9, the sequence is -216, and then +36, and then -6. So when this waffles back and forth between positive and negative, we understand obviously that our R value has to be negative. So take any number. So I can even do like this one divided by this one and just write it as a division or a fraction. So if I put -6 over 36, then I can say that my R value is just the reduced version of that fraction, which is -1/6. So my explicit formula is going to be A sub n equals the first term, -216, times the common ratio, which is -1/6. Then I'm going to raise it to the power, you guessed it, of n minus 1. And then since this problem asks us to find the 6th term, we are going to put 6 right here in place of n, and we're going to type into our calculator -216 times -1/6, all to the power of 5, because 6 minus 1 is 5, and that one should come out to 0.028. All right, problem number 10 has us doing the sequence 2, 5, and 25 has. And of course, at the end of all these, there should be ... dots. I'm just being lazy here. So the common ratio, to find it, it's just literally visible to you from the get-go. You just take this and put it over this, 5 over 2. So the common ratio is just, well, 5 over 2. Or if you're a decimal person, then 2.5 is of course fine as well. So now that we know the common ratio, we can say that the explicit formula is a sub n equals the first term, 2, times the common ratio, 5 over 2 to the power of n minus 1. And we are asked for the 12th term, so we put 12 in place of n, and you type that into your calculator, and you should get a large number. And it makes sense that this is a big answer because the numbers are getting, well, bigger. So it is 47,683 .716. Right, 2 more. Probably don't need any more. I'm guessing you're probably still not watching, but I hope you are, because I'll talk to you a little bit about your notes and stuff, but we'll see. This is 1, and then 5 over 2, and then 25 over 4. That's an ugly 5, but I don't care. And so the common ratio is observed by just taking any term and dividing it by the one before. And if you put 5 halves and divide it by 1, well, you just get, 5 halves. So our explicit formula here is going to look a little bit different to you, and you don't have to write it this way, but the way I would write it is I would write it as a sub n equals 5 halves to the power of n minus 1. And the reason is that if the first term is a 1, you don't really need to put that 1. So if you put that purple 1 there, it's not like it's wrong. It's just something that I personally wouldn't put. It makes me feel like I have more work to do than I actually do. We are asked in this problem to find the 12th term. So of course we will replace n with 12. And 12 minus 1 is 11. So I just typed into my calculator personally 5 halves raised to the power of 11. And I got expectedly a big number. Comes out to 23, so 23,841.858. And the last one, might as well finish this off. The 12th problem has us going from -3 to 18/5, and then, oops, there's a typo on here, guys. That should be -108.25. Apologies, I typoed, so hope you're still watching. This, of course, has to be a negative or it wouldn't be a proper geometric sequence, so apologies for that. So to find r, as always, we're going to take any term and divide it by the term before it. So we're going to do 18/5 divided by -3. And you'll remember from the old grade school days how we divide, we have to make -3 into a fraction. So it's 18/5 divided by -3 over 1. And then, of course, we do the old copy dot flop. So it's 18/5 times -1 over 3. And this equals -18 over 15, which if you reduce it down, finally, I can say r equals -6 over 5. So I'm going to erase this work over here, but since this is a video, you can, of course, rewind, pause, whatever you want to do. But that's the hardest r on the whole thing to find for sure. But now that we know r, it's pretty impossible to mess up from here. So we're going to say a sub n equals first term times common ratio raised to the power of n minus 1. And this problem asks us for the 9th term, so we'll put 9 in place of n. So you just type in your calculator, -3 times -6/5 raised to the power of 9 minus 1, which is 8. And on that one, I got -12.899. And that's it. So like what I ask of you on every problem is that you just box up your answers. So like I know I haven't been doing this, but there's an answer, okay? That gets a box. This is the explicit formula that gets a box. And then this is the term that you were asked to find that gets a box. So that's why I say every problem should have 3 answers, and that's what I'm looking for there. So that is that. So I'm going to stop the screen share and bring my video back up. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to email me tonight or this afternoon, whatever. And your page of notes, I put this in my sub plan. I think I'm even put it on Canvas, but your page of notes can be front and back. So if you want to do notes on the front and notes on the back, that's fine. But really, this should be a piece of cake for you seniors. This is your last math quiz of high school. And for you juniors, I'm not really sure if we're going to do another one or not. But for seniors, this is it. So make sure you do really, really well. And don't forget also, if you bombed or didn't do very well on that arithmetic sequence quiz from, a week or week and a half ago, that you are welcome. You got a couple more days to get in and do retakes. So there's Thursday, tomorrow, you can to like stay after school or come in during one of my classes as long as you're actually ready just to take it. Um, and then there's also Friday school, which I think, last Friday of your high school career, if you're a senior, I would recommend you take advantage of that. But you can do a full credit. The two people I've had retake it have improved their grades literally by like 50 points. So I hope you take advantage of the opportunity. And again, if you want to set up a Zoom, send me an email. I can Zoom with you from home. I can Zoom whenever you want, basically. So I'll have my email kind of on and listening for it if you need any help. All right. I hope that everything went well today. I haven't checked my sub report, but I hope it was glorious. I hope you guys were perfectly behaved, and I'll see you all tomorrow, unless I see you on a Zoom. So, all right. Have a good one.